Yet again, guys, this is just another example of the fact that someone's subscriber count or even their supposed credentials are in no way indicative of the quality of their videos. What's up, guys? Sean Nalawani, RealScienceAthletics.com. And a few days ago, Tilo and I were having our usual morning coffee and we were scrolling through the latest YouTube fitness videos and we came across this video by Greg Doucette. And I'd never heard of this Mike Diamonds guy before, so I went ahead and watched through Greg's video, and it's a critique of Mike's video, How to Lose Stubborn Fat in 1 Week, 4 Simple Science-Based Steps. Yes, how to lose fat in 1 week. And aside from the fact that the video title is just obvious bullshit, and that the content in the video itself is also pretty bad, there was just something about this Dr. Mike character that rubbed me the wrong way. I can't explain it exactly. Something about him just seemed a bit off. Maybe it's partly because the way he looks and speaks reminds me of the lead villain from Breaking Bad. Not sure exactly, but it was just a general gut feeling, and so I figured that I'd go ahead and look a bit further into his channel. And lo and behold, I discovered a few interesting things. So given that Mike Diamonds does have 500,000 subscribers, and a lot of people out there are watching and are falling for this content, I figured that this was worth covering today. So I'm gonna show you the 3 things that I found, and since my goal on this channel is always to point out misinformation and then to provide you with actionable information as well, so that you know what to do in a practical sense to get the results you're after, I'm also going to go through his other video that has almost the exact same title as the one that Greg covered, and this one is called How to Lose Stubborn Fat in 1 Week, 4 Simple Steps. And I'll explain why the claims in that video are also inaccurate and provide further evidence that just because someone has the word doctor in front of their name, it doesn't necessarily mean that they know what they're talking about.
Hey, Dr. Burke here.
Hey guys, Dr. Jim Stepani here.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Sam Robbins.
The essential problem is this.
Before I do that, if you are as fed up with all the misleading information in the fitness industry as much as I am, and you enjoy these critique style videos, then please just do me one small favor and hit that like button below. It really does go a long way in helping to push the video out there so that more people can see it and get access to the proper information that they need. I really do appreciate it. So as Mike Diamonds would say, please gently hit that like button.
Gently hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated.
So I made 3 pretty bold claims there in my title: bad advice, false claims, and yes, plagiarism. So let's go over each one, and we'll start here with the false claims, specifically relating to his video titles. Now, to be fair, as someone who doesn't just make YouTube content, but also consumes it as well, I personally have no issue with people using what you could call provocative titles on their videos.
It's provocative. It gets the people going.
YouTube fitness is an extremely competitive space with thousands of new videos being uploaded every single day. And most people watching just don't realize how much effort really goes into creating this content. So ultimately, I have no real problem with that, as long as the title is accurate and it actually describes what the video is about. Okay, if your title is blatantly misleading and you're just making straight up false claims, then that is unethical in my opinion. And after digging into Mike Diamond's channel, I can confidently say that he has some of the most ridiculous, most inaccurate titles that I've seen in all of YouTube fitness. How to lose belly fat in 1 week, 3 simple steps. How to lose belly fat in 1 week, day 1. How to lose belly fat in 1 week, part 2. How to lose stubborn fat in 1 week, 4 simple steps. How to lose stubborn fat in 1 week, 4 simple science-based steps. How to lose chest fat in 1 week, 3 simple steps. 4 steps to lose belly fat in 1 week, 1 week belly fat transformation. How to lose chest fat and belly fat in 1 week. How to lose stubborn belly fat in 2 weeks. How to get 6-pack abs in 1 week. How to get a 6-pack in 3 weeks, 4 simple steps. This guy's basically like the Chloe Ting of male YouTube fitness.
Hey everyone!
Except that unlike Chloe, who at least admits that her titles are clickbait and that you can't achieve these sort of results that quickly, this guy just goes ahead and uses these insane titles and then just carries on with the video like everything is normal without any sort of disclaimer. And he even shows before and after transformations of himself to imply to the average viewer that this was done in those very short time frames. Sure, technically you can lose fat in 1 week, you can lose fat in 1 day or 1 hour or even 1 second, but obviously when you're creating titles like this with a before and after picture, the implication is that you can achieve very significant results very quickly. And let me know in the comments what you think about this. Are these kind of clickbaity titles okay, since technically people are searching for this kind of information, or is a false claim regardless, and therefore it shouldn't be made? I would definitely go with option number 2, but let me know what you think below. I do read all the comments and I am interested in your guys' feedback. Now, I assume that the vast majority of people who are subscribed to my channel are fully aware that you're not going to get a 6-pack in 2 weeks and that you can't make significant abdominal transformations in as little as 7 days. And I think that those kinds of titles set up false expectations, and they're just a way to take advantage of people's lack of knowledge so that you can promote yourself and your products more effectively. If you're going to use those types of titles, then at the very least, once the video starts, you should clarify what sort of time frames are actually involved when it comes to losing fat and building muscle. Even if people know deep down that it's not going to happen in 1 to 2 weeks, you're still implying that it can be done very quickly. So you need to clarify that. Otherwise, it's very likely that people will get started, but then they're going to get discouraged when they aren't getting the kind of results that you implicitly promised them. Now, the second issue with Dr. Mike Diamonds is that he blatantly copies other people's work. Now, I know that plagiarism is a pretty serious thing to accuse someone of, but hey, you look at this and be the judge. So when I was scrolling through his videos, this particular thumbnail jumped out at me because another YouTuber, Mario Tomic, who I did mention in my recent video about honest, legit YouTubers that I do support. I'll link that up here if you want to check it out. But I remembered that Mario had made a video talking about the benefits of walking as an easy way to increase calorie expenditure and lose body fat. And I also remember that that video had gotten quite a few views. So I looked it up and put them side by side, and what do you know, the exact same thumbnail, different video title, but clearly a blatant ripoff of Mario's thumbnail design. It's not even subtle. And something told me that this probably wasn't the first time Mike had done this, and so I looked into it further and ended up finding many more examples of this. So it looks like what Mike basically does is he finds high-performing videos from other YouTubers, and then he just copies the title or the thumbnail or both to try and replicate the success of that video. For example, this video here with 12 million views, 10-minute fat-burning morning routine, do this every day. And here's Mike's version, 10-minute fat-burning morning routine, do this every day at home. Almost the exact same title, and he also copies the thumbnail layout as well. Jeff Nippard, 7 things I wish I knew when I started lifting, 1.8 million views. Mike Diamonds, 7 things I wish I knew when I started lifting, exact same title, word for word, and the same thumbnail. How long will it take to see your six-pack? How long will it take to see your six-pack? Real body fat percentage examples. Real body fat percentage examples. He even capitalizes the same words in the title. Now, I didn't go through all of his videos, so these are just a few examples I came across, but I'm sure there probably are more. Now, to be clear, I think it's fine as a YouTube content creator to find videos that are performing well and to then roughly model a piece of content after that. Most people do that to some degree, and I'd say that that's just a smart strategy from an SEO perspective. But there's also a fine line between emulation and blatant plagiarism. And in my book, if you're literally copying someone's video title word for word and copying the exact design of their thumbnail, that is what I would call plagiarism. Plagiarism is the representation of another author's language, thoughts, ideas, or expressions as one's own original work. I didn't watch all the videos, so I don't know if he copied any of the actual video content, but straight up ripping off someone's exact video title and their thumbnail is definitely unethical in my opinion. So 2 strikes for Mr. Mike Diamonds so far. He makes blatant false claims in his video titles. He straight up copies other YouTubers' content. And now for strike 3, to firmly earn this man a place in the YouTube Fitness Hall of Shame. And that's the fact that a lot of his information isn't accurate either. Now, I only very recently discovered this gem of a channel, so it's not like I've watched every single video, but in the ones that I have watched, he does give out several pieces of advice that are just straight up wrong. And just like many other fitness experts out there, he cherry picks and misrepresents research just to try to support whatever point he's trying to make. Now, I will give credit where credit is due, and that's that he does make it clear in most of his videos that a calorie deficit is the primary driver of fat loss, and he does encourage people to consume foods that they enjoy and that they can stick to. So he's not out here promoting 24/7 chicken, broccoli, and brown rice. So I will give him credit for that. But a lot of the other stuff that I've seen him put out, especially in relation to fasting and cardio and supplements, a lot of it is just straight up wrong. So Greg covered how to lose stubborn fat in 1 week, 4 simple science-based steps. And I'm gonna cover how to lose stubborn fat in 1 week, 4 simple steps. So the same title, but just without the science-based part. So this should be especially good.
How to lose stubborn fat in 1 week.
Just no shame whatsoever, eh? So he starts off by putting on his glasses and scrubs and stands in front of a whiteboard mapping out how the fat burning process works to try and make this video seem really official, even though basically everything he's about to advise is completely and utterly false.
So according to this study, there are 2 reasons why fasting is so great for fat loss.
Because for a certain percentage of people, it helps them regulate their hunger better, and that helps them stick to their calorie deficit more consistently.
The first one is oxidation rates of free fatty acids are roughly doubled after fasting.
So look, I have absolutely nothing against intermittent fasting, and if you prefer that style of eating, if it simplifies your diet, if it makes it easier for you to control your hunger throughout the day, then that's totally fine, and you should do it. However, it does not have any special fat burning benefits when total calories are equated. So if you eat 2,000 calories a day from meals that are spaced all throughout the day, or you move all 2,000 of those calories into a shorter feeding window and just eat maybe, say, 2 larger meals, there's not gonna be any bottom line difference at the end of the day. Yes, if you don't consume any food for a prolonged time frame, then during that fasted period, you're obviously gonna burn a greater amount of fat. There's nothing at all surprising or groundbreaking about that. But it ultimately balances out because during the feeding window, you're gonna be eating a higher percentage of your calories, and so you're gonna store more fat during that time. So you can't just look at fat loss from this narrow lens and just say, oh, if you fast, then you burn more fat while you're fasting, so fasting is the key to fat loss, okay? You have to zoom out and look at the whole picture. Fat loss ultimately comes down to the total amount of calories you consume versus the total amount of calories that you burn in the big picture. So if you do intermittent fasting, then you burn more fat while you fast and you store more fat while you eat. Whereas if you just have regularly spaced meals, then those fat burning and fat storing processes are just more evenly spaced throughout the day rather than happening in 2 bigger spikes. But the net effect is the same at the end of the day. And so you should just choose the method that you prefer and that you can stick to the easiest. And that's absolutely critical because a calorie deficit is irrelevant if you can't sustain it. The key to losing fat and keeping it off long term is to create a calorie deficit and then to set your diet up in whatever way allows you as an individual to maintain that deficit as consistently as possible. And that's gonna vary from person to person. For some people, intermittent fasting works great, and for others, regularly spaced meals are the better approach, whether it's 3 meals a day or 5 meals a day or 7 meals a day. Not to mention that the study he's using here, just like in the video Greg covered, it's looking at the effects of a 72-hour fast. So you can't just take the findings of that study and then apply it to a fast that only lasts for 16 hours, which is what most people who do intermittent fasting, that's the length of time that they usually fast for. So either Mike Diamonds doesn't actually understand how to read studies, or he does know how to read studies, but he's just intentionally being misleading to support the point that he's trying to make.
The second one is that abdominal subcutaneous blood flow is increased by 50%, which means that blood flow containing all those catecholamines are directly targeted to your subcutaneous stomach. And that does help with fat loss.
So once again, he's using a 72-hour fasting study to support the effects of doing 16-hour fasts. You can't just take the findings from a fast that was almost 5 times the length and then assume that the same effects apply. On top of that, okay, abdominal blood flow was increased, but we still don't know if that actually produced any significant changes in abdominal fat loss or if it's just a very minor, non-noticeable effect. The study didn't actually measure that. It's like saying that a testosterone booster increases test levels by 3%. Okay, great. Yeah, technically it does increase testosterone, which sounds good, but that doesn't automatically mean that it's going to have any real world benefit since the effect is so small. You can't just take these statements at face value, okay? You have to think critically, you have to question things and look a little bit deeper to really get to the truth.
A little trick that I've been doing, I train fasted, and it has helped with being able to get rid of that stubborn fat. And this research here supports that. In the effects of post-absorptive and postprandial exercise of glucoregulation and metabolic syndrome. Now this test and these results indicate that post-absorptive exercise has advantage of promoting fat use.
So the exact same logic applies here as well. Yes, if you train fasted, then you burn a higher percentage of calories from fat during the exercise. That's not surprising. However, a higher number of calories are being pushed into a shorter feeding window later on. And so when you do inevitably eat later on in the day, it's gonna balance out because you're gonna store a higher percentage of fat during that period. Also keep in mind that for maximum training performance and maximum muscle retention, fasted training is not going to be ideal for most people. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't do it. If you prefer it, then that's totally fine. But on average, if you want to achieve the very best body composition results possible, then you are going to be better off to have a pre-workout meal of some kind, even if it's just a light shake or something else very basic. Anyone can just take a random study and cherry pick a few pieces of info from it to try and prove a given point. Some people have built their entire YouTube channel that way, and that's exactly what Mike Diamonds is doing here and what he does in his other videos as well. And as a doctor, he should know better than this.
The third tip that I can offer is doing high intensity interval training, especially in a fasted state. Now, high-intensity interval training has shown to elevate levels of catecholamine, which does help mobilize fat, and especially doing that in a fasted state with all that blood going to your midsection, it will help you lose that stubborn fat.
Exact same thing here, okay? It doesn't matter whether you train fasted or not, and it also doesn't matter whether you do high intensity short duration cardio or low intensity longer duration cardio or something in between. The total number of calories that gets burned is very similar. So again, this is something that I would recommend that you just choose based on preference, since the simple fact that you are consistent with your cardio period, that's gonna be by far the most important thing. And if you're out there trying to grind through a certain form of cardio that you really hate, it's only gonna be a matter of time before you burn out and quit. I can guarantee you that. Some people do enjoy HIIT cardio specifically because it's so time efficient, whereas other people really hate it because of just how grueling it can be if you are doing it properly at those very high intensities. In fact, you actually need to be even more careful with HIIT cardio because it places your body under more overall stress, and there's a higher chance of impacting your weight training recovery from it if you're doing a lot of HIIT cardio. There's more impact on your joints, there's more muscle damage. So if we're talking about true HIIT cardio where you're going very hard during the sessions, then I would suggest that you cap it at 2 sessions per week and no more than 3 sessions per week. And if you want to cut through all the nonsense and get a free step-by-step training and nutrition plan from me to maximize your results based on your current condition and your goals, then after this video is over, make sure to head over to seannall.com/custom, fill out the form on that page, and I'll get back to you in a few days with a step-by-step plan that you can follow. The link is up here as well as down below in the description box. And then lastly, Mike Diamonds gives some supplement recommendations.
The first supplement I want to talk about is yohimbine HCl. Yohimbine comes from an African evergreen tea that is called yohimb. What yohimb does, it binds to the alpha receptors, and it blocks alpha receptors from being bound to, and that way it promotes more fat loss.
Now, the research on yohimbine is pretty mixed. Some studies have shown positive results in terms of weight loss, but since yohimbine is a diuretic, which flushes water out of the body, it's hard to know how much of that weight loss was from actual fat versus just being from water weight losses. Not to mention that in some of these studies, the diet was not controlled, and there are also several studies that found no benefits. Yohimbine can also be a very stimulating compound. So all in all, I would say that unless you're an advanced lifter who really knows what they're doing and you're just trying to edge off a tiny bit of remaining fat, I personally wouldn't screw around with this stuff, especially if you are sensitive to stimulants or if you have any issues with anxiety. And then of course, not surprisingly, he recommends my all-time favorite supplement, branched chain amino acids.
BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. When you're in a fasted state, your body wants to rather go for muscle mass as a source of energy. But to prevent that and make sure that it's getting its energy from fat, branched chain amino acids drives your body protein synthesis, and it
Come again?
branched chain amino acids drives your body protein synthesis.
You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
So the truth is that BCAAs are not anti-catabolic, and even if you are doing fasted training, they are not going to benefit you. To truly get an anti-catabolic effect, you need the full spectrum of essential amino acids and not just the BCAAs in isolation. If anything, BCAAs are actually catabolic because they stimulate protein synthesis, but then since none of the other amino acids are present, your body breaks down lean tissue from other areas to obtain those essential amino acids that it needs. BCAAs are completely worthless as a supplement, and if you're eating enough total protein throughout the day, then you're already getting all of the BCAAs that you need for maximum benefit. If you really want to train on a mostly empty stomach, then either take an essential amino acid blend, or even better, just consume some basic protein powder. BCAAs and EAAs both still contain calories, so regardless of which one you use, you're technically not training completely fasted anyway. And then lastly, he promotes a pre-workout from his sponsor.
The next tip I want to give you guys is RP Max. It's a pre-workout.
So I took a quick look at this pre-workout, and there's really no point in even attempting to review it because it uses a proprietary blend. And what that means is that they list off all of the ingredients that are included, but they don't tell you the specific dose for each one. And the only reason supplement companies do this is so that they can underdose the product, they can cut costs, and they can make more money from each bottle. Proprietary blends have actually become pretty uncommon at this point, since more and more consumers have started catching on to it. So the fact that this company company is still using a proprietary blend in 2020, that is a massive red flag, and I'd say that it's reason enough to completely avoid anything that they're selling. And if you want to check out some legitimate science-based supplements using actual research-backed ingredients in their proper doses that will genuinely assist your fitness program, okay, no hyper gimmicks, then make sure to visit realscienceathletics.com. The link is up here and in the description box. This is the sports nutrition line that I personally formulated based off of thousands of hours of research and testing, and you can use coupon code YouTube15, which will take 15% off your entire first order. So Dr. Mike Diamond's fantastic work. Congratulations. You're misleading people with your titles, you're copying other YouTubers' work, and you're giving out completely inaccurate information. Yet again, guys, this is just another example of the fact that someone's subscriber count or even their supposed credentials are in no way indicative of the quality of their videos. What racks up views and subscribers on YouTube is marketability, because the average person watching these videos doesn't really know anything, they're still a beginner, and so they just gravitate towards whatever sounds most convincing. Okay, to someone who has a good physique, who has good video production value, speaks convincingly, and even better, is a doctor. But all in all, until or unless this guy decides to clean up his act, Dr. Mike Diamonds gets an F- from me. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe below and hit that like button if you found this helpful. You can check me out over on Instagram as well for more updates. Grab your free custom program over at seannell.com/custom, and I will see you in the next video.